Welcome back to this tutorial on API automation with Karate DSL.
In the last video, we saw how to create a feature file. In this video, we'll be seeing how we'll create different runners using JUnit as well as TestNG with the help of the documentation present in Karate DSL GitHub page. Let's go ahead and create a runner. In order to create a runner and execute our feature files using the folder structure that we are following, it is not that easy. So it is because our feature files are put into Java folder directly, not inside resource folder. So these files will not be copied to target folder. In order that Maven copies these feature files to the target folder or compiled folder, we have to specify a build configuration. We can find that build configuration in GitHub directly. If you read through the documentation, we can find that there is a section called folder structure. It will be clearly given that the Maven tradition is to have non-Java source files in a separate folder called source test resources folder. But since we are following a different folder structure where we are maintaining the feature files in a different folder, we have to use this build configuration so that those files will be copied to target folder and our test cases shall be run successfully. For Maven, we have to copy this build configuration and paste it below dependencies. Let's remove these plugins, it's not necessary. It's copied. Let's refresh it. Note that I have added properties, which is Maven compiler. I'm using Java 14, which is OpenJDK 14. And the source and target are Java 14, OpenJDK 14. Let's create our first test runner. In order to create our first test runner, we need a JUnit or TestNG. But we see that as the basic dependency for Karate DSL is Karate JUnit 5. We have JUnit 5 already as part of our dependencies. We can use this JUnit 5 to create our first test runner. Let's right click over Java, new Java class JUnit 5 runner. Okay. Let's see the documentation for JUnit 5 runner in Karate GitHub page. For JUnit 5, they have provided a sample class where they have provided 3 different execution functions or methods. In the first one, we see that there is a karate.run sample related to get class. It means that the feature file as well as the runner file are present next to each other. That means the sample test can access a sample.feature directly, and in this case also the same, that the runner file can directly access the tags.feature and run the scenario which has the tag second. In the third, we see that we are providing a full class path of the feature file and a tag to execute. For our purpose, since we have our test scenarios or feature files in a separate folder and our runner class outside the folder, we will use this method. Let's import and update the class path. Go rest slash features slash users dot feature. For now, let's ignore this tag. And let's try running it. Run JUnit 5 run now. The test case is getting executed and we saw different logs here. Here we are. There was only one test scenario and that test scenario has successfully executed. There is zero failure and the time taken to execute is less than a second, which is 0.6 seconds. We have successfully executed using JUnit 5 runner here. Let's see if there is support for JUnit 4. In the documentation, we saw that we have JUnit 4. In order to execute the test case using JUnit 4, we need the Maven dependency for JUnit 4. Let's copy the Maven dependency. It is present here, JUnit 4. Copy it, paste it as a dependency. Save it, refresh Maven dependencies, and let's go ahead and create a package to hold all these runners. Let's move this JUnit 5 runner inside the runners package, and let's create our JUnit 4 runner. Let's see the documentation on JUnit 4 runner, and it is very simple. We have only this additional thing. Let's add that at the top. Input JUnit 4 and run with JUnit run with. Okay, we have our run now. Let's try executing. When we try executing this test case, we see that it's not able to find the test case or the scenario. If JUnit runner has to find the test case, we have to provide something called Karate options, and the documentation is found in the same page. Let's copy this Karate options and put it in the run with. Let's change the path here. Go rest slash features slash users dot feature, and now let's try running it. Our test case is successfully executed and it took less than a second. So now we have two different runners for the same test case. We saw the runner using JUnit. Let's try executing the scenario using TestNG. Though we don't have a good support for TestNG in this current version of Karate, let's use the basic TestNG to execute the test case using Karate runner itself. Let's download the dependency for TestNG. 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 Let's download the latest version. Copy and put it below this. Let's refresh it. We don't want these two. Let's create our TestNG runner. ng runner. Okay. For the TestNG runner to run properly, we have to use @test. Public void run test. Okay, let's use the runner dot parallel. Let's say directly parallel. Let it be get class, and let's provide the thread count as 1. And since this get class doesn't allow the specification of the runner file, we have to use Karate options. Karate options features are path go rest / feature / users dot feature. Let's try running this. When you run using TestNG, you will be provided with this error message, and the solution will also be present in the same line. You just have to copy this, go to this edit configuration and paste it here and click apply. OK. And again, if you run the same test case again using the runner, the test case should execute and pass. So we have 3 different runners now. One is a JUnit 4 runner, the other is a JUnit 5 runner, the other is a TestNG runner. I'll go ahead with TestNG runner for future purpose. For development purpose, we will always use this run icon and this debug icon always. We won't go to Maven command line and execute our Maven command line to run the test case or debug the scenarios. In that case, we need 2 different runners. One that is used purposefully for the development, or other that can be used along with Maven command line. Let's copy this TestNG runner and move it here, and let's rename it to local runner. We have a local runner now. You see that this is our local runner. Always our thread count will be 1. Let's copy this and rename it to test runner. This test runner will not have any karate options to it. It will just have the parallel runner along with the thread count. We will be using this test runner only via Maven command line, not via the local execution. If you run this for local execution, this will not find any test case. Our local runner is ready. Let's try running it again. We will be forced to add this to our configuration. Okay, now it should run as expected. Okay, we have completed our runner part. We are able to execute our test case, and we have successfully executed them and got the results here. In the next video, we will see how to make this log readable and remove all the unwanted logs from this console.